At the age of 27, Bundy committed his first murder, after which he could not stop. As a rule, Bundy chose girls and little girls for his pleasures. Each time, he managed to conquer strangers with his charisma. Potential victims, like butterflies flying into the world, got into his car and drove away. Bundy himself said that he was pushed to commit crimes by violent pornography, as if only with the help of violence he could experience sexual pleasure. In 1974, young women suddenly started disappearing, mostly on college campuses in the states of Washington and Oregon. It was not known whether Bundy's first murders were earlier, because he confessed to only 36 murders, although most researchers believe that the number of victims of the maniac exceeds 100. And he started killing much earlier. As a rule, witnesses remembered an attractive young man who turned to young women for help and who then disappeared forever. For a long time, the police could not track down the killer. Bundy's first documented victims are considered to be University of Washington students, dancer Karen Sparks and weather forecaster Linda Geely. Ted was then 27 years old. And that year, female college students began disappearing at the rate of about one per month. In November 1974, Bundy, dressed as a police officer, attacked Carol DeRanch, who managed to escape and provide the police with a description of the criminal as well as a sample of his blood, which he left on her jacket during the attempted murder. Only a few hours after the attack on DeRanch, 17-year-old Debbie Kent also disappeared. Around this time, Bundy took a job as assistant director of the Seattle Crime Prevention Advisory Commission, where he wrote a pamphlet for women on rape prevention. It was at this time in the forest that the police found a grave with the remains of women who had previously disappeared in Washington and Utah. The police of both states made a psychological portrait and photo robot of the man, whom the victims called Ted. Ted met women when he asked them for help on crutches or with a cast on his arm, asking the girls to help him get to the car or carry his briefcase. Then he attacked them, beat them until they lost consciousness, and brutally raped them. Bodies were dismembered by Bundy. Data on the killer's blood type and a description of the Volkswagen car that Ted was driving were given to police agencies in both states. The bodies of the dead women also had traces of a blow to the head with a blunt object. They were raped, so the suspicion of serial murders immediately arose. Over the next few months, 5 more murdered women in Colorado were found with similar marks on the head, possibly with a crowbar. The only victim who managed to escape from Bundy was 18-year-old Carol DeRanch. As she was walking through the mall, Ted approached her and pretended to be a police officer. He said that the girl's car was broken into and offered her to go with him to the station to write a statement. As soon as they left the parking lot, Carol realized that the man was driving her in the opposite direction from the station and jumped out of the car. Bundy chased after the girl, tried to beat her, but she managed to escape and stop a car passing by the crime scene. Carol asked to take her to the department, where she told everything in detail and described the maniac. And between these crimes, Ted dated Elizabeth Kendall. She was a divorced single mother with a daughter. After articles about the maniac and his description began to appear in the press, she told the police 3 times that her boyfriend looked like a person from the news. But her words were not taken seriously.